Internet Marketing and SEO Secrets Exposed, the ultimate guide to making money online. Part 5, The Secret to Search Engine Optimization. Chapter 2, SEO, Attaining High Rankings in Google. Although all search engines have the same goal, which is to return relevant information for a web query, they do not all work in the same way. Google works differently from other search engines. It has its own unique algorithm or mathematical formula that it uses to index websites and rank web pages in its SERPs, search engine results pages, or placements. Google is the 100-pound gorilla of the internet jungle, and for the time being at least, you must learn how to feed it what it wants so it gives you what you need, #1 positions in its search results pages. You are about to learn exactly how to do that. How Google works. Google spends millions of dollars yearly tweaking its already super expensive algorithm. In order to stay current and the world's #1 search engine, the people in charge of Google invest a lot of time, energy, creativity, and money into their search algorithm. So, although this information outlining how Google works is accurate, it is greatly simplified in order to make it understandable and so that we can use a Google model to help us formulate workable processes that can get our sites to #1. So, what is Google really? Google is really just one big popularity contest. Just like the individual local prize titles given to winners in beauty pageants, and just like the glittery tiara placed on the head of Miss World, the winners of Google's popularity contests get #1 spots in the SERPs. So, how does it all work? You may or may not be aware that the internet was created for scientific information sharing. Although the World Wide Web, WWW, has evolved to a much greater level than the original internet design, the basic structure and backbone of it remains the same. As the internet was built for and by scientific minds for scientific purposes, it is not surprising that Google has borrowed a scientific standard for its ranking algorithm. If you are in any way interested in scientific writings, then you will know that a lot of weight is given to published reports within the scientific community. When one published report cites another report in its writings, the original cited report is given a boost in the scientific world, because it appears to be an authority source upon which the new report is giving credence. Anyone who reads medical journals or scientific reports will often research the information given by the author, and also research the cross-referenced points in reports to check for accuracy and to gain further information on what is being discussed. In other words, if a report uses the findings or conclusions of a previous report, then many readers will seek out that previous report because they view it as being important and/or an authority on the subject that they are reading about. The internet works the same way. I know this may sound slightly complicated, but it works in a really simple way, as I will demonstrate. If Site A mentions Site B somewhere in its content, then Google determines that Site B must be connected in some way to Site A. Or it concludes that the content on Site A's page that links to Site B is connected in some way to Site B, or at least the page on Site B that the link points to. When Site A is in a similar market to Site B, and it links to it using specific phrases, LSI keywords, that are related to the content on Site B, then Google starts to really believe that Site B must in fact be related to that specific topic. Using a real-world illustration of how this works, we can look at our course example, How to Win the Lottery. We want Google to believe that our site, www.howtowinthelotteryguaranteed.com, is related to the lottery and is specifically about the topic How to Win the Lottery. In order to convince Google that our site is about this topic, we have already performed some on-page optimization by making sure our domain name has the keyword in it. We have named the site after the keyword and inserted LSI keywords into our content and used them to name the categories of posts on the site. However, we know that we also need to perform some off-page optimization in order to rank high in Google. on-page factors alone are not enough to attain high rankings. So, we need relevant backlinks that point to our lottery site from other lottery-related sites using our keyword as anchor text in order to further convince Google that it should rank us high for that search term. When we get these links, Google can see that sites which it already considers to be connected to the lottery are linking to our site. This will produce external evidence that points to the fact that our site really is connected to the lottery. When we use the anchor text "How to Win the Lottery" and also try to find a page that is actually about finding a way to win the lottery, we will convince Google even more that this is exactly what our site is about. Simple, yes? You can see an example of this at work in the screenshot here. The link shown is a highly relevant link because it is coming from a Web 2.0 website that is titled "How to Win the 6 from 49 Lottery," an LSI keyword connected to our main keyword, "How to Win the Lottery." The problem with getting relevant links such as these is in finding good quality sites and pages that are relevant to your topic. Even if you do find such sites and pages, it is often difficult to convince the site owner to post a link back to your site. Sometimes you can convince a webmaster to post your link, but in order to get that link, you will be asked to link back to the site linking to you. This is known as reciprocal linking, and it is useless as an SEO tool. This becomes even more of a problem when we consider the fact that Google is a popularity contest. Not only do you need relevant links, but you need more of them coming in than you have pointing out. You also need more of them than your competitors have. So, how do we address this dilemma? The answer is simplicity itself. In order to get relevant backlinks and get more of them than your competitors have, you do not need to contact other websites at all. All you have to do is build your own sites, fill them with relevant content, and then link back to your main site from them. That way you can control every aspect of the backlinking process, from relevance to anchor text. Obviously, there is a specific and definite way to do this. Just pumping out relevant satellite sites with links to your main site is not enough to rank #1 in Google. However, building satellite sites that link to your main site in an ordered and deliberate manner, as you are about to learn, will form the backbone of all your off-page SEO work. When this backbone is built and used in conjunction with the other off-page SEO techniques shown in this part of the course, you will guarantee yourself a #1 ranking in Google, as long as you are persistent in the application of the processes we teach you. It usually takes approximately 3 months to rank a web page #1 for a standard keyword that can generate at least $100 per day. However, some keywords will rank more quickly than others. The key to success in your SEO endeavors is persistence. Keep working the SEO plan until you achieve your aim of a #1 spot on Google. Then move on to another keyword and do it again. Backlinks. As you have already learned, links pointing to your site from other sites, backlinks, are vital in order to rank in Google. Backlinks should be considered as votes. The more votes you have, the more popular Google considers you to be. However, remember that relevance is also important. To illustrate this point, consider this fictional scenario. Everyone knows that Hollywood is all about being popular. Like Google, Hollywood is one big popularity contest. Therefore, Hollywood can act as an excellent model to describe how things at the big G work. So, to show how Google works, let's take the world of an aspiring Hollywood actor as an example. Imagine we have a newcomer to the field of acting. We will call him Jim Brown. Now, Jim wants to be seen as a great actor and wants to get big roles in blockbuster Hollywood movies. But no one has heard of him. So Jim starts auditioning for parts in movies and attending movie-type events, all the while telling people how great an actor he is. Obviously, no one pays any heed or attention to Jim's ramblings and self-professed greatness. So he uses a new approach and begins to elicit the help of his friends, who then also tell people how great Jim is at acting. Now, the friends of Jim's friends will probably take note of this. But when strangers hear these people saying that Jim is a great actor, they will simply dismiss the notion, as they have never heard of Jim and do not know the people who are recommending him. There could be hundreds of people saying Jim is a great actor, but in Hollywood, this is not enough to get noticed. But what if Tom Cruise meets Jim and likes him? Tom then goes on to casually mention in an interview how he had met a great actor named Jim Brown and he expected great things from him in the future. Suddenly, people would start to take notice of Jim Brown. He may even get some screen tests. Who knows, he may get his big break. One mention from Tom Cruise will be enough to put Jim on Hollywood's radar, at least for a while. Unfortunately for Jim, though, it wouldn't take long for people to forget his name if only one famous actor mentioned him in only one interview. But imagine Tom Cruise mentioned Jim to Katie Holmes. Katie then goes on to mention Jim in a different interview. Suddenly, there is more interest generated around Jim, and he starts to get invited to Hollywood parties where he meets Steven Spielberg and convinces him that he is a great actor. Steven Spielberg then mentions Jim to a few friends and also in an interview. After a while, when people hear the name Jim Brown, they take notice because he is already popular with the Hollywood elite. Actors who are already established in Hollywood are vouching for Jim Brown, so people think he must be a good actor. And all without having to join the Church of Scientology. Ranking a website in Google follows the same sort of process. To get popular in Hollywood and to be considered a good actor, Jim Brown had to get other popular players in Hollywood to say he was a good actor. This made him appear popular with other popular people. Exactly the same thing happens on the internet. To rank high in Google, your site must be considered popular and relevant by other sites that are popular and relevant in your niche. The whole point of SEO is to achieve this aim. The techniques that follow will do exactly that. Anchor text. In our scenario above, Jim wanted to be considered a good actor, and he wanted to be seen as being popular in Hollywood. Obviously, to achieve that aim, he needed other popular, successful actors to say that he was a good actor and show that he was popular by talking about him openly. In the same way, you will need other sites in your niche to show that you are popular by linking to your site, and they must do it with words that clearly show your site is about a specific topic. To do this, they must link to your site using anchor text that is reflective of the niche and the keywords you are targeting. Obviously, the primary keyword you will use in your backlink anchor text will be the keyword that you want to rank for. Take another look at our hub page, and you will see that this hub links to our main site with the keyword "How to Win the Lottery." This is the exact phrase we want to rank number 1 in Google for. This tells Google that the page that will be visited by clicking on the link, our site's main page, gives information about how to win the lottery. We are telling Google that if someone wants to learn how to win the lottery, they should visit our site. The more of these types of links that we have pointing to our site from relevant external pages, the more Google will be convinced that our site is an authority on this subject. However, keyword-specific links will come back to bite you if you overdo it. If all your links have the same anchor text, then Google will smell a rat. It is unnatural. What are the odds of every website on the internet that links to your site using the same anchor text? Pretty low. Therefore, you must use a mixture of keyword-specific anchor text and other anchor text to make it look as though your links are natural and are in no way being created artificially. So, what anchor text do you use? And what ratio between your main keyword and other anchor text should you observe when building backlinks? LSI anchor text, the small secret to faster rankings. You have already seen the power of using LSI keywords when it comes to writing content for your site, and also for content that you will use for off-page optimization. However, this is not the only use of LSI. In the previous section, you learned that you should not always use the same anchor text in your off-page links because it looks unnatural to Google. The general rule of thumb that we use is to target our keyword in anchor text about 60% of the time. The other 40% of backlinks should use a variety of keyword terms. However, we do not just use any old keywords or search terms. I have heard internet marketers just making up their keywords because they sound connected to their topic, and some even advocate placing anchor text such as "click here." We never do this. Most times you will get these types of links naturally anyway. So why waste your time creating them yourself when they have little or no value to your SEO? The additional anchor text we use always consists of a mixture of LSI keywords and the domain name. Using LSI in your anchor text will mean that not all your backlinks will have the same anchor text and will thus look natural. However, because that anchor text is still connected to your main keyword through LSI, these links will still give your site an extra SEO boost.